what does entrepreneurship do to you? It slaps you in the face every day, right? Like, I love Mike Tyson. You can have the perfect plan till I punch you in the mouth. And then everything changes. And that's the epitome of what entrepreneurship does. I love, and I'll quote Jeff Bezos, right? We've learned from where I love how he said, the day that I got rid of my excuse department is the day the entire business changed for me. And that's it. When you get out of thinking that you're not going to fall and you're not going to fail and make a mistake and have struggle and have people doubt you, when you get out of that, that is when you can run. And that is when you can then take it into step 5 and evaluate what I'm doing so I can get better tomorrow. Right? Because I love what John says. Experience is life's greatest teacher. No. Evaluated experience is the best teacher. If you don't evaluate what you've done and how you've got there, it's really hard to be prepared and ready for tomorrow. And Lindsay, I know that that was a lot of what we talked about this week. Like, you got to have the vision and you got to have the game plan. But what did I say? It's not the glamorous things that create the glamour. The glamour that all these uber successful people have, it wasn't glamorous getting to that point.
No, absolutely not. And if you listen to a lot of other podcasts, they talk about that. Yes, now it may look very glamorous, but there's still, there was a lot of days that they were grinding. And in that book that we're going through, the High Road Leadership, he talked about, after one business failed, he spent 7 days a week working 15, 16 hours a day to achieve his next entrepreneurial business. And so, when you think about that, and I think about the bigger vision for our business in daily challenges that may weigh folks down, right? Because let's be honest, we can get weighed down by the day-to-day things that come at us, whether it be kids or someone sick or something didn't go the way we intended it to go. Something that I revert back to is dance, because I grew up dancing my entire life, studio dance. I danced in high school. I danced in college. And so the mindset of dedication, of training, we trained through Christmas break in high school. I mean, Christmas Eve, we were training. Those 2 weeks that all the high schoolers have off, we were in there training 2 times a day. And so, and I fast forward to college and spring break when everyone's gone and having a great time, we're in there training 2 times a day. And so why were we doing that, right? What would make someone want to stick that out? Well, it was for the bigger vision. We wanted the national title. And so when I think about hard things, in entrepreneurship is hard. By far the hardest thing, one of the hardest things I've ever. And that, I revert back to some of the daily grinds of practicing. It was always a mantra that I said to myself, hey, if I can do ladybirds, I can do anything, because that was also another extremely hard thing that I accomplished. And that was just a mantra that, when I'm faced with something hard, hey, well, guess what? I've been here before and I can dig deeper and persevere to push through.
Yeah, and I love that, right? Because you have to, as you're fighting that entrepreneurial battle, you have to remember why you're doing it, and you have to remember what that reward could look like. Because if those things get lost, then those small daily fights that you didn't always expect to come at you will knock you down, right? So I love how you said that, because I think, a lot of people, you talk about your why and you're like, well, I've got my kids at home and I've got to pay the bills, or like, I want these specific things in life, and I want to separate, or I want to be able to give so much to charity, and I want to do all these things right? Or as my whys. But I love how you say, what helped me a lot was reverting back to the past and knowing that I've been through these battles before and I've seen the successes come through.
Well, if you think about it, because there may be folks on here that are listening that are in the sales arena, whatever type, if it's insurance, any type of sales, and think about, hey, that really challenging, difficult customer that you ended up winning over, right? And they ended up purchasing a product. I guarantee there are several people listening to this call that when you're going through some of those trials and you're dealing with that difficult customer, you revert back to the last difficult one and you continue to persevere. And there's no doubt in my mind. So, really persevering and I think, David, also being mature enough to have self-awareness, right? Because maturity is a lot of what I feel we've developed through our through this journey. We've grown a lot together as a couple and as business partners, and we've learned from a lot of the mistakes that we've made along the way.
Yeah, 100%. It was read that, today's society, right? Today's society, everybody, you want it now. It's even hard to maintain maturity no matter what age you are, in the way that the world operates now. We want all of this now. But if you speak to any, and I'm going out on a limb saying that, you speak to any successful, especially entrepreneur, most of them are going to tell you that it's taken persistence, it's taken time, it's taken losses, it's taken a lot of learnings. And I remember when, Lindsay and you and I went to that Rachel Hollis conference, and she kind of blew up back, a couple of years back, and the Girl Wash My Face. Is that the name of it, right?
Yes, Girl Go Wash Your Face.
And she's like, it's funny listening to all these people out here act like I just overnight blew up and I was this overnight success because of this one book that I started working in this space 15 years ago. And I've been grinding, and I've written this book and that book. And that's typically the story. Mm-hmm. Lindsay, you mentioned Jamie Kern Lima with IT Cosmetics and being at that point of a couple years into the business and not a whole lot of success, not a lot of money left in the bank. And that one QVC opportunity that blew her up. Like, there is story after story after story. And it does. And so when I thought about that maturity aspect of what entrepreneurship requires, for me, I said, maturity is understanding that we overestimate what we can do in a day, but we severely underestimate what is possible in a year. And it takes that maturity and that resilience and that perseverance to stay your course for an extended period of time when you didn't blow up overnight.